One of the problems people face whenever they're expecting a package or cargo abroad is the condition of their items after it has been inspected by the officials from the Bureau of Customs.
I'm Catherine. I'm 24 years old. My business po is more on organizing stuff. Sa shipping, ganito lang yung naranasan kong problema so far. Yung sa damage, yung item kasi na pinadala ko is yung acrylic shades holder. So, bali, mabilis siya talagang mabasag. Ang ginawa namin, pinak namin siya ng maayos with bubble wrap and box para medyo matigas siya. And then, sa labas ng pouch, may nakasulat na fragile. As in, maraming fragile. But pagdating ng item, tumawag sa akin or nag-text sa akin yung client, sabi niya is meron daw damage or may crack sa taas na part yung shades holder. Sa delay naman po, nangyari po yung delay nung holiday, nung June 12 po. So parang shinip ko po yung item nung June 10, so expect po nung mga clients, darating siya by June 11. So hindi nga po dumating ng June 11 na delay because of the holiday. Dumating na siya June 13 instead of one-day delivery. Tinatawagan ko po sila, yung tawag po is kina-cancel. Hindi naman daw po yung courier yung masisira, kundi ako. Kaya medyo nainis din po siya, pero naiintindihan niya po ako kasi ginagawa ko naman po lahat para ma-answer yung tanong niya kung nasa na yung item. Meron po silang insurance. It means magdadagdag po ng bayad, parang kada 500 pesos worth ng items na declared value mo is magbabayad ka ng 10 pesos. Actually po, dapat sila na rin po yung nag-iingat dun eh. Bukod po dun sa insurance kasi parang right na po namin na parang nagtiwala po kami sa kanila. Dapat i-maintain nila yung tiwala. Ingatan nila lahat ng items na pinapadala namin whether nakasulat yung fragile or hindi.
What are the responsibilities of officials from the Bureau of Customs? What authority do they have to examine personal belongings shipped from different places? Is it possible for persons to file a complaint against officials of the Bureau of Customs for damaged items?
Good evening, I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno and you are watching Legal Help Desk on the Solar News channel. This show is about making the law work for you by giving legal advice on topics that matter to you.
And I'm Attorney Nepomuceno. Tonight, we will be discussing your legal rights on the issue of shipping and cargo problems. What you need to know should your personal belongings get lost in the process of shipping to the intended address, and what you need to do to seek compensation from such acts.
Our guest tonight is Attorney Vincent Marunilla of the Bureau of Customs. Good evening, Attorney Jet, and thank you for being here tonight.
Good evening, Attorney Jet. Very appropriate yung name mo, Attorney Jet, but shipping. We're talking about shipping.
I know. But I was teasing him earlier. Sabi ko, siguro, Attorney Jet, maraming takot sa inyo, no? Bureau of Customs.
Or marami siyang kaibigan. Kasi I need to bring in some goods.
I'm sure nobody fears us. And,
that's what you think.
No, the problems we normally encounter nga from our friends, it's also our colleagues, no? Whenever they import something, the usual problem they encounter, of course, apart from questions on the tariff and the rates and all that, is yung
shipping. Also, this is really a very important topic with the proliferation of buying online. Kasi, di ba yung mga deliveries, pag bumili ka, with even usually mga available online na ngayon eh,
goods,
mga products.
Goods, and generally, before, I used to get the goods directly to my house. But now I would get a slip from the Bureau of Customs and I have to go to near the airport and pick it up, no? And sometimes nagkaka-issues rin, and sometimes you are blamed because the goods are either wrong or nasira, no? in transit. So maybe we'd like to discuss that first, no? Yung with regards to products that came to the Bureau of Customs, and then you released it, and then
when does the Bureau of Customs anyway get in touch with these goods? I mean, kailan pumapasok sa inyo yung goods? Is it only if it's imported?
Yeah. Everything that's imported usually goes through customs. Even the ones that they declare for the free port zones and the special economic zones, we have participation when it is brought in to the country. Well, I think you're referring to a while ago mostly of the goods that are coming in from the express cargo system, right?
Yes.
So they would go through us once these express cargo companies would declare that they're actually goods being imported. Of course, we have our own risk management system for all these goods. if our risk management system would determine that some of the goods are high risk, then of course we would require some sort of a physical examination. If not, we don't actually open them.
So if it's normally from a province to Metro Manila being shipped, an item being shipped, hindi na siya dadaan sa Bureau of Customs.
No.
What about balikbayan boxes? This is popular among Filipinos.
Yeah.
US, dadating na lang 2 balikbayan boxes. Do you check the contents of balikbayan boxes?
We do have X-ray.
Okay.
There's an X-ray machine. If it turns out that the balikbayan box is no suspect, that's how they say it in customs language, then we don't open it anymore.
What would be suspected items?
Well, we've had cases where in one balikbayan box it contained gun parts for high-powered guns like M16s, M14s. In fact, there's a pending case before the Department of Justice for this particular case. We've had small packages that contained prohibited items such as elephant tusks.
Oh,
which
okay.
are-
So
yeah.
yung mga trying to smuggle in
smuggle
goods.
Yes,
But
yeah.
what if it's a commercial quantity in a sense, or might be considered commercial quantity? Because a lot of Filipinos abroad, even if they don't intend to sell it here, they just hoard because mas mura sa US. So, ang daming towels, ang daming delata. Do you
Dami pa sunod.
open that
I know,
and
I
then
know.
assess taxes on those items?
Yes, and the common mistake is even they bring it in as hand-carried luggage.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
but still, when you take a look at them, it's in commercial quantity. So we have no choice. The law actually says that we have to assess duties and taxes for
Now,
those items.
in the case na I went there and got my item, no? Which let's say I bought online from abroad, and it was damaged. Do I have any recourse against the Bureau of Customs? For example, especially for example, it was an heirloom or something that was important to me. Do I have recourse to the Bureau of Customs and claim that, hey, when it was shipped, it was not broken, and now it's with you? So.
If it can be proven that that our personnel were at fault in the handling of the goods and it was actually damaged during the time that either we were inspecting it or it's in the custody of the Bureau of Customs, you can file appropriate charges either before the Bureau itself through our Internal Inquiry and Prosecution Division, IIPD, through the Department of Finance,
Right.
or to the Office of the Ombudsman.
Okay, officer. But I guess the primary resort would still be Bureau of
The
Customs
Bureau of
first.
Customs, yeah.
Okay.
We would appreciate if you would
Try to
allow
resolve
us
it
to rectify or at least punish our own people for the mistakes that they've done.
Right.
That's good.
Okay.
Now let's answer some questions from our viewers with the help of our guest, Attorney Jet. Our first question is from JJ. I've heard horror stories about items being damaged or worse, becoming lost after being inspected by customs. Is this inspection really necessary? Where can I file a complaint should this kind of thing happen to me? This is kind of related to
Yeah, kind of
Rod's
related
question.
to my
It's common on shipments through air express cargoes, but and again there are two ways on how you could actually recover your cost, the value of your item. Number one, you can complain if it can be proven that it's our fault, the fault of our personnel, or you can look at your documents. If there's an insurance paid for the item, then you can recover
From the insurance.
from the insurance.
No,
It's usually
Assuming
with
meron insurance.
with
Normally,
insurance.
ba itong mga, and this is probably an inappropriate question to throw at you, but no, case to case yan, di ba? Yung mga things that you bring here through express cargo, sometimes they're insured, sometimes they're not, right?
I think it's at your option.
Yeah, it's at your option. But
Yeah.
my question is, ano appropriate documents would be acceptable to the Bureau of Customs, especially to prove loss? Kasi kung loss, sasabihin ng Bureau of Customs, hindi naman umabot sa amin yan eh. So, what would be good evidence for the Bureau of Customs to acknowledge na, okay, nasira nga dito yan or nawala dito?
Then I guess you talk to your to the shipping company or the air express company that actually handled your goods. They would have some sort of a documentation.
Like an acknowledgement receipt?
That they were subjected to customs examination or they're there in customs custody, because after declaration for customs purposes, when they file an import entry, there will be a process where customs will have some sort of an examination of the goods. If again, if it's suspect, if it's not, it remains within the customs territory without physical inspection, and we'll just inspect the document.
And
Would it, sorry, last in connection to this, would it be detrimental for the person to get the item na damaged and bring it home, or is it better to just leave it with customs? Kasi they might say afterwards that by the time you're already formally filing your complaint, that it wasn't that damaged, or it was not damaged when you received it from us. What's the best thing to do? Or do you write in a paper and say, this was the condition when I received it? And because of course, when you receive it, it's not the time you file the complaint right away. So what's the best thing to do?
Well, in the perspective of a lawyer, I would advise that, yeah, they just have it recorded that that when they at least when they get it from customs custody, they open it immediately and try to inspect the condition of the goods, just for their own protection. Because if they bring it home and it's damaged, of course.
Yeah, ang hirap na i-prove, no?
Your word against mine. Yeah. So anyway, our next question is from Andrew. I ordered a few items online. There were no problems in delivery until it reached the Philippines. Now the tracking page read clearance delay for several days. I finally called up the courier and I was suddenly charged a tax that was almost twice as much as what I actually paid for the item. Why was this so?
I think that this is a common mistake among among Filipinos who actually are in the fad of ordering online. Yeah, I think before you order online, you check the duties that are going to be chargeable for a particular item, so that you know the actual cost.
Because they assume that nakalagay doon na online price.
Exactly. Even they even assume that whatever the estimates of the shipping company that's going to bring in the goods, that they say that you have to pay this amount to answer for duties and taxes, they would presume that that's the actual amount that they're going to pay, which is not, because normally when it passes through customs, there is still an assessment process that's going to be made, and we will determine the proper duties and taxes that's going to be chargeable. So if we find out that the amount that is allocated by the express handling companies, the one that they actually already charge with their clients, are insufficient, of course
you add on to it. What's a normal computation?
Well, it would depend on the item. There's a specific rate of duty for each particular item. It could be, well, if in the recent free trade agreements that we've entered into, most are already zero, but it could range from 0 to 15% still.
Can be as much as 15%.
Yeah, and for sensitive items, it could be as much as 40%.
Wow, 40%. So you're not really getting a discount by buying online.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, let's take a short break. Legal Help Desk will return after these reminders. You are still watching Legal Help Desk on the Solar News channel, and we are still joined by our guest, Attorney Vincent Marunilla of the Bureau of Customs.
Yes. Now, okay, if I order something, Attorney Jet, now that we've been talking about it, na sometimes it's not fully paid, or more often than not, diba? And then I still have to pay something. Yeah. What kind of taxes can I expect to pay for let's say an item like a doll? Recently we ordered online an old doll for my wife. Yeah, it's a doll
for your wife.
Yeah,
for you.
it's nothing. It's not what you're thinking.
I'll give Rod a discount if it's for him.
It was a toy doll that she loved growing up. And it's kind of rare.
Yes, I was curious about that because some people claim that by the time the goods arrive here and they claim it from the Bureau of Customs, parang sabi nila more than dumoble na yung presyo. So that would be 100%. But earlier you mentioned normally up to 40% lang ang tax duties.
And the 40% I'm talking about are not even those that could actually be brought in through express cargo. So you'd be talking about as high as what, 15% for those particular
just one
items.
Tax? Just one tax?
Well, the rate of duty is usually uniform in terms of the kind of goods that you're bringing in. Okay, so a particular good would have a specific rate of duty, but the basis for computation of that is uniform, which is the transaction value system. We charge it based on the price paid or payable for the goods. So we look at your invoice, and then we add on cost, insurance, and freight, and then we charge you with the duties
based on that,
based on the percentage or rate of duty assigned to your particular item. But there are certain items that, of course, would be charged more because they are subject to, let's say, value-added tax and excise
so that's
tax.
That's why others end up becoming like maybe 70% of what they actually spend just online.
VAT
is VAT.
Yeah, VAT is 12% more.
Right.
So and then excise tax, if you're bringing in a car.
Cars can be very...
We've heard about that.
Oh, I've heard of that.
I know.
Well,
and then,
that's in the headlines quite a bit.
I know.
All right, let's continue answering questions from our viewers. Lisa is asking, when are shipping companies liable for damages of items lost incurred during the process of delivery? I don't know if that's something that you can address.
Well, based on experience, I think it's still a contract of carriage. And,
yes.
I was going to say that I teach transportation law, so this is also one of the things I teach my students. If your items become damaged, you can go after the shipping company if the damage was caused by them. But there's really a presumption against them. So it's the shipping company's burden to prove that the damage was not due to their acts.
And I think it's worth to point out that the kind of care that is required of shipping companies is extraordinary care.
So meaning kailangan they really have to have they have to exercise extra care, especially if you declare that the goods are delicate or perishable. So they can really go after whichever shipping company they used.
Okay. So do we have another question?
Yes, we have another question from Facebook. Jen is asking, I had goods shipped to the Philippines. It was inspected by the Bureau of Customs and the tax they charged us was based on the shipment cost because the price per item was not available. This doesn't seem fair because the tax is too much. What is the legal basis of imposing tax based on shipment cost? Is this a valid act? Can I ask them to recalculate the tax based on the actual price of what I had shipped?
So shipment cost ang naging basis.
She's actually questioning na parang masyado daw mataas.
Do you do that? Shipment cost?
No. There are methods of evaluation on how we actually determine our duties. Primary of which is the transaction value, which is method 1, the price paid or payable.
Price paid or payable? Because sometimes parang ina-under-declare ba yung price paid? Is that the reason?
The usual thing that we actually look out for is that people would usually submit fake invoices and undervalue their goods so that they would be charged less.
Based on how you know yung rates per goods, the Bureau of Customs can use a different value.
If on its face, it would seem that this is really the transaction value, then we use it as the basis for imposing our duties. If not, we resort to other methods. Method 2 would be we use the value used for an identical importation, meaning an importation of the same good from the same source of origin.
Right.
So if we find out that particular the value declared for that particular good is significantly higher than what you declared, we don't automatically substitute that, but we use it as a basis to question your...
Now what kind of penalties are we talking about
Sorry,
here?
just to add pala yung question sa Facebook. paano if she doesn't agree? Can she still question the tax and refuse to pay it?
Yeah, she can actually, there are remedies for her. She can have it tentatively released, meaning it's released based on her declared value, and then whatever value we are trying to impose, there's going to be a hearing before what we call the valuation, the VCRC, Valuation and Classification Review Committee. If we find out that the value that we were imposing was correct, then we just
get
collect
the difference.
it.
But she cannot obtain or have the goods released unless she pays something, either the transaction value. So kung ayaw niya magbayad, she can't have the goods.
Kung ayaw niya magbayad, we just keep it.
Now, what type of penalties are we? Most of us we fly, and then there's a customs.
Yeah.
The last line of defense of the government is BOC, diba? And you have there the goods to be declared, and if you have nothing to declare, assuming that I just whistle through and go to the nothing to declare area, and and you have the right to do this. You'll say, wait, can we check it?
Yeah.
And you see something that's, let's say, should be taxed. Is there a penalty? Do you have the right, for example, or do you just impose the duty that's supposed to be imposed, or can you say, oh, that's a crime, and we'll have to detain you? Are there cases like that?
Well, by law,
contraband, no? I guess.
Yeah. Well, in case of contraband, of course, we'll have to detain the person. But if it's a case of, let's say, non-declaration or misdeclaration of goods, we have the right to actually just seize your goods and then and proceed to a seizure proceedings.
Not even give him the right to pay the duties.
Well, he would have to prove before the seizure proceedings that he was in good faith. Why he did not declare it. So it becomes really complicated. But on certain instances, our customs officers have exercised some leeway, especially if the act of the person who was bringing it in was done in good faith.
Okay.
He didn't know that there was this.
I didn't know there was a Mac there. I didn't know there was a Mac there.
I know. I didn't know that there were 3 Rolex inside. So I just let them pay.
Okay, we
charge.
All right. We have a question from our Facebook page. Pam asks, why do customs charges change for the same item? I've received the same shipment and several times over, and in the last few years, and the customs fee varies by a wide margin. Or
could be that because in 3 years' time, the value of our goods has changed. Inflation plays a big part. If it's transaction value, if your phone now is, let's say, $10, the next time it's 20, and it's 30 in the third year, that's a big actually change, and
so
that's a big margin.
Basically, the gist is it would really depend on the transaction value, kung magkano yung binili mo at that time.
Plus the other additional cost, like if the insurance, the cost, and the freight increased during those 3 years, and it's an add-on to how we compute our.
Right.
Okay. So we only have a few minutes left in the program, so maybe we can use this time to give a recap of what we've discussed so far. So what are our tips for the viewers? One, if you're shipping items and something gets lost or destroyed, you can really file a claim first with the shipping company that you used, or the shipping company that was used by, if, for instance, your relative abroad. So they have really the burden of proving that the damage was not their fault. And for Bureau of Customs issues, we have here Attorney Jet.
Yeah, Attorney Jet. Any tips?
Well, if for any complaints, you can go to our website, go to the Commissioner's Corner, and then write a complaint or any feedback at the portion where it says feedback@rufibiazon.ph. So our Commissioner Biazon, regularly checks this and personally acts on the complaints.
Personally, wow.
We've had complaints given to him through Twitter.
Wow.
And he acts on it instantaneously.
That's wonderful.
That's great.
That's
so you can
great
also file your complaint at Commissioner BOC, that's on Twitter, and on his official Commissioner BOC Facebook page.
And I'd like to add pala that I'd just like to emphasize, pagka may damage or nawala yung item nyo, all you have to do is show that the item was either damaged or lost. And it's really the shipping company's burden to prove that they did not cause the damage or the loss to your goods. And I'd like to emphasize what Attorney Jet pointed out earlier then, na you have to have proof. I-inspect na agad nila, no? Once they claim from customs, they should open the item to check kung may damage.
So that, you know, right there and there, we can establish if it's really damaged at the time it was given, the custody was transferred to the owner. And then, you know, we'll find out whoever it is that's responsible.
And of course, the most important tip is that if you're planning to bring in something and import something, make sure it's not contraband. All right.
Lumalabas pala sa X-ray.
Where can they check that? Do you have a list of contraband items on,
on the website?
On the website?
Yeah, it's on the website. You can look at the Tariff and Customs Code. There's a list there, and you know, sometimes it's common sense. If you're if you're bringing in guns, it's a regulated item.
Right.
Or pag sobrang daming delata, baka ma-flag down for commercial quantity.
Well, most importantly, you should check the medicines that you're bringing in, because there are some chemicals that are precursors to.
Some are maybe, you know, gray
areas.
So that would really give customs reason to open the box.
And then just try to check, and then just be vigilant before you bring it in.
All right, thanks a lot. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have left. I would like to thank our guest, Attorney Vincent Maronilla of the Bureau of Customs, for being with us today. I am Attorney Rod Nepomuceno.
And I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno. Join us again next Monday as we discuss your legal rights. Good night.
So, bali, mabilis siya talagang mabasag. Ang ginawa namin, pinak namin siya ng maayos with bubble wrap and box para medyo matigas siya. And then, sa labas ng pouch, may nakasulat na fragile. As in, maraming fragile. But pagdating ng item, tumawag sa akin or nag-text sa akin yung client, sabi niya is meron daw damage or may crack sa taas na part yung shade holder. Sa delay naman po, nangyari po yung delay nung holiday. Noong June 12 po. So, parang shinip ko po yung item noong June 10. So, expect po nung mga clients, darating siya by June 11. So, hindi nga po dumating ng June 11 na delay because of the holiday. Dumating na siya June 13 instead of one-day delivery. Tinatawagan ko po sila, yung tawag po is kina-cancel. Hindi naman daw po yung courier yung masisira, kundi ako.
Good evening, I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno, and you are watching Legal Help Desk on the Solar News channel. This show is about making the law work for you by giving legal advice on topics that matter to you.
And I'm Attorney Rod Nepomuceno. Tonight, we will be discussing your legal rights on the issue of shipping and cargo problems. What you need to know should your personal belongings get lost in the process of shipping to the intended address, and what you need to do to seek compensation from such acts.
Our guest tonight is Attorney Vincent Maronilla of the Bureau of Customs. Good evening, Attorney Jet, and thank you for being here tonight.
Good evening, Attorney Jet. Very appropriate yung name mo, Attorney Jet, but shipping. We're talking about shipping.
I know.
But I was teasing him earlier. Sabi ko, siguro, Attorney Jet, maraming takot sa inyo, no? Bureau of Customs.
Or marami siyang kaibigan. Kasi, I need to bring in some goods.
I'm sure nobody fears us.
That's what you think.
No, the problems we normally encounter now from our friends, it's also our colleagues, no? Whenever they import something, the usual problem they encounter, of course, apart from questions on the tariff and the rates and all that, is yung
shipping. Also, this is really a very important topic with the proliferation of buying online. Kasi, di ba yung mga deliveries, pag bumili ka, with even usually mga available online na ngayon
goods,
mga products.
Diba? And generally, before, I used to get the goods directly to my house. But now I would get a slip from the Bureau of Customs, and I have to go to near the airport and pick it up, no? And sometimes nagkaka-issues rin, and sometimes you are blamed because the goods are either wrong or nasira, no? in transit. So maybe with
One of the problems people face whenever they're expecting a package or cargo abroad is the condition of their items after it has been inspected by the officials from the Bureau of Customs.
I'm Catherine. I'm 24 years old. My business po is more on organizing stuff. Sa shipping, ganito lang yung naranasan kong problema so far. Yung sa damage, yung item kasi na pinadala ko is yung acrylic shades home. Kaya medyo nainis din po siya. Pero naiintindihan niya po ako kasi ginagawa ko naman po lahat para ma-answer yung tanong niya kung nasa na yung item. Meron po silang insurance. It means magdadagdag ka po ng bayad parang kada 500 pesos worth ng items na declared value mo is magbabayad ka ng 10 pesos. Actually po, dapat sila na rin po yung nag-iingat dun eh. Bukod po dun sa insurance kasi parang right na po namin na parang nagtiwala po kami sa kanila. Dapat i-maintain nila yung tiwala. Ingatan nila lahat ng items na pinapadala namin whether nakasulat yung fragile or hindi.
What are the responsibilities of officials from the Bureau of Customs? What authority do they have to examine personal belongings shipped from different places? Is it possible for persons to file a complaint against officials of the Bureau of Customs for damaged items?